All right. Good morning, everyone. As always, we'll do a broad market outlook, go over some top ideas, and then Heaven, any ideas you have, we'll go over those as well.
Sounds good.
So getting into it again, we've been talking the last few weeks about this range that we've been in the SPY. We saw on Friday, again, the market bought up a little bit. So this very tiny, we'll call it like a Mickey Mouse support area versus 405, as the market continues to try to retest this area of resistance. This morning, we're kind of gapping down a little bit. Nothing too crazy. We'll see if it kind of pushes down to 405 off the open. But the general theme has really been like up here. There hasn't been much setups, hasn't been much opportunity, unless you're really scanning and find opportunities. But it's been definitely some slim pickets up here. We've seen the 10-year continue to form this megaphone pattern, as we continue to expect to see lower prices and hopefully mortgage rates to follow with time with that. Again, tech has been very strong as it works its way back to that retest. Same thing we're kind of expecting with the SPY, just kind of working back to that major area of resistance. And, again, this will be the retest. So I wouldn't expect, fireworks up here after the run it's been on, but an area to definitely take some profits. There's some sectors like the REITs that are setting up, for another entry up to this 84. We can see this, kind of base break area that's been setting up. We had a recent entry, a little support buyback about a week ago, and we have the next setup through this 84. A lot of strong sectors last week. Again, healthcare, looking very strong to the run up it had. We saw the same with the utility sector, is kind of the risk off sector that people run to when they get a little skittish about the market. And again, NASDAQ's been very strong. The tech sector, consumer staples, as Sheikh was mentioning a few weeks ago with his thesis on the rotation into these more lower beta conservative names, has been working out beautifully. Same with the large cap names, the Dow 30, near the upper end range of its channel that it's been trading in. So some decent action. Again, a lot of sectors setting up within their own bases. We see the consumer staples, we see energy in this much broader wedge pattern that's been forming. Financials still holding up somewhat nicely considering all the issues going on with the regional banks right now, that they still haven't gotten too smoked, through this. So I really was expecting a shakeout down through 73. And the financial sector just holding it up for now, and just looks like a very decent buyback up through 78. And some weaker sectors, again, small cap, the materials, industrials was probably the biggest red flag, or biggest one I would try to avoid in the week ahead. Just had a very strong balance and just complete reverse that move all of last week. So this is probably a sector I would try to stay away from until we get like a real shakeout of this 180 area. Moved on to a couple swings. Again, got into this OPCH on Friday, closed horribly. More likely we'll be out of this today if it continues to push lower down through this 31. So it's just kind of a failed base break. This RXDX, closed pretty decent on Friday. We see this little flag that it was forming. So we'll see if we get some continuation today. I'm looking for, targeting kind of the 120, 125 area if this has, some more continuation this week. And the top three ideas for the week ahead, I have this PODD through this 324, 325 area. You can see this was a high going back from 2021. It's retested it to a certain extent, and it's now testing it for a third or fourth time. So I have an order for that. Looks very good. Top right in the healthcare space, that's been very strong this past week. We have this PRTA, little base break. This biotech name up through 50 for now versus this 47 area. And lastly, this MYGN through 24. Nice little bull flag forming in this, another healthcare name. So a couple ideas on the radar, but just keeping it very patient for, start of this week. So with that, Heaven, if there's anything you're looking at, we can go over those now.
Definitely some slim pickings for so far this week. I think we'll get some better ideas later in the week, but I got a couple of member ideas here. Kusha, first thing he's looking at is West through 1250 in time. Looks like a coffee company. Never heard of it before.
Yeah, this part here, just like, to me, is like a hard pass. It's just like this company did nothing until whatever happened this day, that something had to have occurred dramatically if this thing that ripped 40%. But this is just not really like my cup of tea. No pun, I guess kind of pun intended, but I see what he's looking at there. It's just too like wild of a name that whatever news that was, basically last summer. I don't know what that news was, so it's hard to say, but this just seems like you're going to buy 12.50. Maybe you're going to get a 50-cent move, but you're giving it 50 cents here. Even if it retests the all-time high, kind of 3-1 on this. So you take it, just pursue caution, but this wouldn't be my favorite name to put risk on with.
I agree. Definitely proceed with caution. Also, just from a volume standpoint, average volume's 100K. So, it doesn't have too much going for it from a layer of probability standpoint, at least from what we like. But, if it works with Kusha, the technical wise, right? If I'm ignoring the price and the volume and just kind of looking at this flag, I could see the setup. But yeah, definitely want to take with caution. Julie is looking at this ZBH, which seems like a couple people were looking at this one. Through 130 versus 127. Weekly chart looks really good.
Definitely see that this area has definitely been a spot going back many years now. We could go back to 2016. You could see it's a very clear level of resistance. We could see this base formed. I mean, this actually looks really, really good. This base has been sitting up for quite some time. Even if you really like this and you gave it first at like 120, which we don't want to give it $10, but like you gave it that real out. There's no reason why, if you able to give it that room, you couldn't see it back 150, 160 in time. But on the shorter term time frame through that area, looks very good for sure.
Yeah. I agree. Looks good for a position trade or shorter term swing trade for sure. Do you still have Amazon? I know you bought Amazon through 100.
No, I took it off
2 weeks ago.
No, so I took everything off. I've just been adding alt to Snap. What did I get out of this? I think I got stopped out down through 102. But I got what I bought through like 100. Yeah, I bought this day. I got stopped out when I rolled over through 102.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm keeping an eye on this one because it looks like it's kind of retesting that entry area that you got through 100. So I retested it on Thursday and then reverse. So kind of looking for a move back to the upside on this one. Looks pretty good as long as it still holds, Thursday's lows. Another one I'm looking at again is this ASO. I've traded a few times this year already. Yeah, turning that 6150 area that was resistance, turning it into support now. So pretty tight little support buy here. 6350 versus 6150, giving the $2, aiming to make, $8 type of area. Get it back up to 70. And that's pretty much it for me right now. Like I said earlier, it's just kind of waiting for things to set up a little bit more. No need to jump into anything on a Monday. Market's gapping down. We'll see what happens later this week. Oh, Abby just typed in the chat. She's looking at EXAS through 69, which was trade of the week last week. So yeah, I mean, still setting up. Kind of failed last week, right? Tried to break out on that Tuesday and quickly rolled back over, but it's holding support. So it seems like it just kind of needs to continue to develop and eventually we'll get that move through resistance.
Yeah, I think you just wait for 70 here. But again, 69, 70, both again. We've seen the breakdown. We saw the base down here. We've seen now this next little flag forming, good level of resistance. It's away from that downtrend break. So all good signs. Again, you do have earnings in
2 weeks,
2 weeks,
15 days.
Probably, I would speculate it's probably not going to go until after earnings, but definitely we've been keeping an eye on this one. Looks very good.
Yep, I agree. And that's everything on my end.
All right, guys. Yeah, quick, short and sweet.
Yep.
All right, see you guys in the chat.
See ya.